Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 237. I am Brennan. UFC Fight Night. Merab Dvalishvili versus Piotr Jan. This is going to be the prelims, okay? We are going to include the fight from Carl Williams versus Lukasz Brzeski. Davey Grant, Raphael Assuncao, Josh Fremd, Sedriques, Dumas. We're going to cover the whole prelim card here. If you're looking for the main card, that's in the last video, including the main event. And if you're looking for Bellator, that's also in the last couple of videos. So if you like those things, you like that kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel. See the next videos coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week, breaking the stuff down, breaking fights down round by round. Let's get started. Okay. I know on the title card, I put Raphael Assuncao versus Davey Grant for good reason. I think that has more importance to it than Carl Williams versus Lukasz Brzeski. But we will get to that second because it technically wasn't the featured prelim. My nose is still kind of bugging me from yesterday. Damn sawdust. And I can actually feel it in my lungs too. It's bad. Okay. They were trading a bit. Williams goes for a takedown. They went all across the cage. There was no damage, and it was back up after a couple of minutes. So there was a lot of control time for Williams in this first round. On the feet, both guys landed about the same, so that's a Williams round with the control. If you look at the control time here in the first round, 2 minutes and 14 seconds for Williams. It was really the story of the fight. Both guys throwing so crazy. Oh, yeah, striking numbers. 16-13 in favor of Williams for the first round, but it was really just him controlling him the whole time. Yes, they were both swinging like crazy, but that did not last. Both guys started doing that in the second round. Williams caught a kick and then knocked him, and got him knocked down, and then Williams lifted him up again, flinged them across the cage. Oh, that was actually pretty crazy. So Williams actually lifts Brzeski up and just like big brothers him and just like throws him behind him. That was kind of crazy. These guys were both still standing in the middle, and they were exhausted with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Williams got another takedown. Williams slipped on a kick and fell down. It was just total chaos and really stupid. So they started to get real tired and got lazy, sloppy. 12-7 as far as significant strikes in favor of Williams, but you can see here 3 minutes and 42 seconds of control time. That, like I said, that was the story of the fight. Last round here, Williams worked for a takedown early, and that was the rest of the round. So this is kind of what happens when you have heavyweights go the distance when they don't have the cardio, which is most of them. So Carl Williams stays on top for 4 minutes and 17 seconds. He only lands 10 significant strikes. Not the most exciting fight. Definitely not the most exciting round. Good win for Williams, though. He did what he needed to do to get the job done. All right, let's talk about some shenanigans. Davey Grant taking on Raphael Assuncao. So, this fight made me kind of angry. Oh, if you're looking for a specific fight breakdown, that's in the timestamps down below. So, Raphael Assuncao is a very frustrating fighter to both fight against, from what you can see, and also watch. Right, he plays it safe. He's a veteran. He stays on the outside. He only engages when he needs to. He only counters, and when he does, he usually goes for a takedown, getting control time. Doesn't really stand in there and trade anymore. Right, he got caught by Cody Garbrandt with that crazy looping overhand right thing that he threw. It's not even. I don't even know what to call that. Threw it from his ankle. But anyway, Grant was landed some low kicks early. They were landing really hard. Raphael caught a kick and got the takedown and worked his way to a Dagestani hip ride. You know, that's where your opponent's against the cage and you're just not quite on the back, but you are controlling one of their legs with your legs, and then you're able to unload on them if you can. If not, you just get them to slip back down. They finally get back up. Grant landed a bit when they got up. I don't think he did enough, though. I gave that round to Raphael. So if you look at the striking numbers, though, Davey Grant did win the striking battle 20-13. But if you look at the control, there's not that much control time. 1 minute and 46 seconds. Maybe Grant did win that round. I didn't give it to him. I actually gave that to Raphael. We'll look at the scorecards in a minute. Second round here, Raphael looking for the takedown early. Grant stopped it. He was able to land out in the open, which was much more interesting to watch in this round. Grant was having to chase Raphael down. They were trading 1-for-1. Then he ends up overextending. Raphael got the takedown, and that was the rest of the round. So I had him up 20-18. If you look at the control time in the second round, minute 38. It doesn't seem like a lot, but in those rounds, it never felt like Grant was really in control, and I don't know why. Raphael is very good at, like I said, playing the game. Like, he's very good at making it look like he's winning. It was the striking numbers were 20-16 in favor of Davey Grant. Again, I gave that to Assuncao. I had him up 2-0 and then Davey landed some decent combos in this last round, landing a right that actually set Raphael down. Raphael was shaking his head like, "No, this didn't rock me." But dude, you were desperate for takedowns, and he's got you all staggered all over the place. Obviously, it did something to you. Grant gets back up, landing some really hard body shots. Grant grabbed the cage. Okay, so he grabbed the cage twice. The first time he did it, he got a warning, and the second time he grabs it, he gets a point deduction. But that point deduction meant that they didn't give the position back to Assuncao, so then they're both standing in the middle. Then Grant throws a spinning back fist, drops Raphael, who's giving a he was giving a thumbs up. So Raphael's out, like, after there was some other striking, and it clearly bothered Raphael, and he's like giving him a thumbs up, like, yeah, let's go. And as he's got the thumb out, Davey Grant does a spinning back fist, lands it on him hard. He's on the back of Raphael Assuncao, right? There's a takedown, and mid takedown, Grant gets a reverse triangle, puts Raphael to sleep. Holy shit. And then Raphael ends up retiring after this fight. So 25-13 in favor of Grant in that last round. I do want to look. So Raphael gets the win regardless of what our opinions are. But I do want to see. What the heck? They repeated it twice on the website. They put the wrong scorecard up. Anyway, let's see. Raphael Assuncao gave the first 2 rounds from Mike Bell. Saul D'Amato had it split. Jacob Montalvo had it 2 rounds. Yeah, man. I mean, that's how I saw it too. Okay, maybe I'm not crazy. Let's see. But I'm not the biggest Raphael Assuncao fan. Look at his career. This is clearly he's a shell of what he used to be, but he's still fighting really smart. He went on this tear right here. Beating Johnny Eduardo, Issa Tamura, Mike Easton, that's a good win. Vaughn Lee, that was all right. The split decision win against TJ Dillashaw in a fight that he most likely lost. Pedro Munoz, that's a great win. Brian Calloway, that was a good win at the time. And then losing officially to TJ Dillashaw. Then he beat Aljamain Sterling. I remember the match. He beat Marlon Moraes. That's a huge. Oh, I remember that. That was a split decision. He shouldn't have won that either. Then he gets a win over Rob Font. He's been effective up until about 2018, and then after that, he just fell off. So, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of his anyway. I know he was always a staple in the division, and he was always really good, but nothing about his fighting style really excited me. I wasn't a huge fan of his to begin with, and then now Davey Grant has the knockout win over Louis Smoka and the inverted triangle. He has that decision loss to Marlon Vera, which isn't bad in retrospect. And then the split decision loss to Adrian Yanez. I'd have to go back and watch that one. He's been fun to watch, that's for sure. But I don't really feel like it right now because I just don't want to get into it. But this was the first fight of the night that had a fence grab caused the position to change so much that it gave the guy an opportunity, and it ended up winning. So I've said it in the past, and I don't want to harp on it too long here, but just cheat, guys. I've watched enough fights now to know that cheating does pay. It does. Nobody's going to remember it. All anybody's ever going to see is the win next to your name. They're going to look at your Wikipedia page, see W, see green, and be like, oh, this guy won that fight. Then nobody's going to look back and be like, oh, it's controversial because in order to get that position, he had to cheat. Like, nobody talks about, Charles Oliveira grabbing the glove of Dustin Poirier. Nobody talks about that. It just doesn't matter in the long term. So just cheat. Just cheat. Until the commission wants to change their attitude towards it, just cheat. And I know this sounds stupid. Like, I don't want it to happen, but guess what? I think people need to do it more. They just need to push it to the limit. Push it to the limit. No, but they really do, because until somebody does it so blatantly, like in spite of the infractions, and then uses it to their advantage, I don't think there's going to be a change in the rule set. Because right now, he just grabbed the fence a bunch of times to get a better position and then ends up getting the knockout. I've said that for years. I was like, why don't people just do that? Who cares if you get a point deduction? I would grab the fence and yank myself up so hard. I would grab it with both hands. What are they going to do? Take a point? I don't care. I'm losing anyway. So I think they need to do it now. They need to do it now so that we can get some real change going on, because I like Davey Grant. I like watching him fight. I think he's fun. He's exciting to watch. I know he has aspirations to be the champ. I don't see that happening. But, this is, it's kind of unacceptable, to be honest, for like the highest level of martial arts to be determined by who's willing to cheat the most. Like, when it comes to close, like, the guy who's cheating is going to win. And it's blatant. Like, you can see it on the freaking video. Anyway, Sedriques Dumas versus Josh Fremd. Dumas coming in as he had some hype around him. I think this was his first UFC fight. Yep, this is his first official UFC fight. His coming off the Contender Series. So Josh Fremd was his introduction. It looked like Dumas stunned Fremd early with the left hand. Dumas was throwing hard with everything. Fremd landed a left hand counter and staggered Dumas. Got the takedown right into side control. Dumas got back up to his feet with a minute and 20 seconds left. He didn't take too much damage on the ground, which is good. Dumas started slow, worked his way into the fight. Wait, not Dumas. Fremd started slow and worked his way into the fight and took control of that round, landing more when they got back up. So I actually gave that round to Fremd, and if you look at the striking numbers here, 27-14 in his favor. I did give him that first round, plus the control time, obviously, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Fremd landing a great right hand to start the second round with a huge hip, and then he gets this giant hip toss, which was really fun to watch. Dumas worked his way out of the position, but goes for the back, gets sloppy, slipped off, and then Fremd got on to get into a position and got the guillotine sub. So great win for Fremd. Dumas is really just a raw talent. He needs to focus on shoring up his fundamentals. You can't go in there and run through everybody. I mean, some people get away with it longer than others, but I think he hit a wall this early in his career. He's lucky in that case because now he realizes it, so he can make some significant changes. Victor Henry taking on Tony Gravely. This fight was really good. Split decision. Okay, we got to go look at that scorecard. Oh, wait, I did have a split. Okay, that makes sense to me. Anyway, the guys were kicking calves to start the fight. Henry wanting the center of the cage, punching Tony back to the warning track. For those of you guys who don't know what the warning track is, it's the area between, there's a little design in the octagon, a painted octagon, and that's about 5 feet away from the cage. And in that area, they call that the warning track. So Henry was mixing his attack well, Gravely sticking to the boxing more often. Gravely got the double leg with 45 seconds left, and then they got right back up. Those takedowns made me want to give it to Gravely because the round was so close. So that's kind of where I leaned. If you look at the first round, the striking numbers were relatively close, 29-22 in favor of Henry. I thought that Gravely did land some decent strikes of his own, some heavy ones, and he did have a minute and 33 seconds of control time. I stand by my decision. I think the damage was close enough to where taking him down and controlling him there was a difference maker for me. So I gave that first round to Gravely. These guys came out swinging. Henry kicks to the body, landed a hook. Gravely not wobbled, but a little. There was a little, hecticness. Hectic. They were very hectic. Henry's output was just nuts. Tony was on the defensive. He was landing, but Henry was landing so much more. Gravely got the takedown, looking to pause for just a minute. Henry back right to his feet, and then back on the pressure. Gravely attempted a takedown. And it took like 15 elbows in the process, just like those downward elbows to the side of the head. The sheer amount of pressure and output from Henry was crazy. So I had it 19-19. If you look at the output in a sec, look at this. This is bananas. 71 of 107. That's so crazy. And I know those are only like 50% power. I don't care. You go do that now. Just do it in the air. Throw 107 punches in the air. Don't even hit anything. If you think that was like, oh, that's not too bad, now go do it to a heavy bag. 107 punches is a lot to throw, especially in 5 minutes. Let alone you're also defending and moving and making sure you don't get knocked out. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into this. Wow, my elbow just got jacked. What the heck happened? All right. Yeah, so definitely Henry's round. It's not even close. 71-17 in the significant strikes. There was control time, but that's inconsequential when it's that big of a difference. Last round here, Tony landing a great right uppercut as Henry keeps the pressure on. Gravely landed some combos clean early in this round. Gravely actually looked to be the fresher fighter in this in the last round, which is weird to me. Henry started to pick up with about 2:15 left in the round. Victor dived in on a knee bar, doesn't get it, and then Gravely ended up working for a triangle. Henry sweeped and took the back momentarily, and then they are up. Tony landed a really good elbow. That last round could have gone to, you could give that to Tony, but if you look at the position and the striking, I think the edge goes to Henry. So if you look at the striking numbers, 54-36, I was, my eyes did not lie to me there. I thought it was super close. The positions back and forth were really good. I always felt like Gravely, when he landed, he was landing with more of a thud and landing more damage per shot. So I wouldn't be upset if you gave that last round to Gravely either. It's closer than the striking numbers make it seem, because a lot of those Henry shots were, like I said, 50% power. So taking into account damage, I think Gravely made it a lot closer than the numbers play out. So Henry ended up getting it, but it was really close. And I even wrote, I got to go look at the numbers. And looking at the numbers, it doesn't make my job any easier. So Eric Cologne gave it 30-27. Wow, let's look at these scorecards real quick here. Eric Cologne gave every round to Victor Henry. I can understand it. Saul D'Amato gave the first 2 rounds to Victor Henry and the last round to Tony Gravely. Again, I understand it. Rick Winter gave the first and last round to Tony Gravely. I understand it. Nothing wrong there, guys. Honestly, there's, based off of what I saw when I was watching it live, that last round was hard to score. The first round, I had it for Gravely. But then if you go look at the numbers, I totally could understand if somebody thought that Victor Henry won that one. So, I thought going into that, I was like, oh man, let's see what they fucked up. But I don't think they did. I think that's a decent range. You know what? These scorecards right here are an excellent example of the subjectivity in a fight being so that you and I can watch the exact same fight, come up with totally different scorecards, and both be right. This is a good example. I think this was a close enough fight to where that's fair. All right. Moving on to a fight that was not so close. Ariane Lipski versus JJ Aldrich. JJ was landing the jab really well, while Lipski was doing a better job throwing hard shots. Every time JJ would land a couple shots, Lipski would land an extra one on the end of it. She would land double the shots. Lipski hurt JJ with 12 seconds left, and and JJ was looking for a takedown, just couldn't really get it. And she staggered her. Lipski staggered her with the right hand at the end of that round. She outstruck her 35-11. It's not even close. Easy 10-9 for her. Second round, Lipski was free flowing, she was letting all of her tools go, landing combos, taking nothing in return. JJ looking like a punching bag out there, not landing much significant in this round at all. I gave it 20-18. Striking numbers again, 35-20. So JJ did a better job than in the first round to land some of her own shots, but really Lipski just doing the damn thing, doing the damage out there. So this last round, looking just like the second one, Lipski landing at range, JJ just following. She's taking a lot of damage from the right hand of Lipski. JJ was unable to get the takedown, and Ariane landed so much damage, it's not even close. So 31-18 this time, so it was very close to that second round, how everything played out. Easy 30-27 for Lipski there. Definitely giving it to her. All right. Here's a fun knockout. Tyson Nam versus Bruno Silva. This was fun while it went on. So Nam was walking Silva down, keeping him at the warning track. Silva was throwing first and outlanding him early. Silva landed a spinning back fist and a front kick. So remember that he landed his front kick early on, and then Nam doing great work to the body at the end of the round. Silva did more damage throughout the round though, despite going backwards most of the time. So Silva was playing counter striker. He was always backing up, and Nam was walking him down. He wasn't doing the best job of cutting off the cage or punishing him for moving backwards. Silva outstruck him 19-12 for significant strikes in that first round. In the second round, Bruno landed a front kick that dropped Nam, and then Silva dived on a rear naked choke and put Nam to sleep. So it is what it is. That picture, there's a little clip of it. There's a little piece of it in the thumbnail. Cool front kick. I always appreciate a good front kick that lands on the chin, that does some damage. I like those. Carlston Harris versus Jared Gooden. First round was real active, and then everything else became wrestle fest. So, and not in a good way. Gooden missed weight by 7 pounds. That's unacceptable. Gooden landing a hard leg kick to start, and he's kind of getting countered. Gooden was moving well, slipping some of the shots when in space, but when they exchanged, he was getting touched. The jab from Gooden was landing hard, but he's leaving his head there to get tagged. There was a nice elbow in tight from Harris, and the great right hand. That was pretty much his round. Gooden did outstrike him 44-43, but if you look at the damage that was done by those strikes, I gave it to Harris. It was a relatively close round, I guess. It's the closest of any of the three, that's for sure. Harris looking to stay in the clinch and stay in tight as he gets the takedown. Gooden spent the entire round on his back. You look 4 minutes and 44 seconds for Carlston Harris in that second round. Not much to talk about there. You want to look at the striking numbers, sure. 7-4 in favor of Harris. And then the last round, Harris really wanted a takedown again. Gooden took 2 minutes to get back up, took no damage, but then got sent right back to his ass. And then Harris spent the rest of the round wrestling on top, 30-27. Not much damage. 13-3 as far as significant strikes go. So there was some really fun grappling on the main card, but that's this one that opened up the night. I understand why people don't like watching it. Okay, that is it for me this weekend. If you are looking for the main card from this UFC event, that's the last video. I did the Bellator. If you want to go check that one out, if you haven't watched the event yet, go watch that, and then go watch my coverage breaking down the round, see if you agree with me. So I appreciate you all for stopping by. If this is the only video you watch this week, interesting choice, but I love you anyway. Thank you. It means a lot. Subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Have an amazing week, and I love y'all.